My uncle stood up at my grandfather's funeral, raised his glass, and laughed. Here's to the girl who just turned her inheritance into monopoly money. The whole room erupted in laughter. My father shook his head in disappointment. My brother recorded the moment on his phone so he could play it back when I went broke. I smiled and walked away. 10 years later, those same people were sitting in my office, asking me to save the family business. The funny part, they still had no idea who owned the company that was about to buy theirs. My name is Madison Parker. I am 36 years old, and I live in Denver, Colorado, USA. My grandfather believed every generation should think differently. When he passed away, he left me an inheritance of $275,000. My family immediately started making plans for my money. My father wanted me to buy rental properties. My uncle insisted I invest in the family manufacturing company. But I had spent nearly a year studying Bitcoin and blockchain technology. I knew it was risky. I also believed it had extraordinary long-term potential. So I invested almost everything. My family acted like I'd committed a crime. For months, I became the family's favorite joke. Every time Bitcoin dropped, someone sent me another article predicting it was finished. During holidays, my uncle loved asking, "How's your imaginary fortune?" Everyone laughed. Eventually, I stopped attending family gatherings. Not because I was ashamed, because I was tired of explaining my decisions to people who had already decided I was wrong. Life wasn't glamorous. I kept my job as a software engineer, rented a small apartment, and ignored the market's daily swings. Instead of checking prices every hour, I focused on improving my skills and building my career. I understood something my family didn't. Real wealth usually belongs to people who can wait. Over the next decade, Bitcoin's value increased dramatically. I didn't spend recklessly. I hired experienced advisors, paid every tax I owed, and slowly diversified into commercial real estate, index funds, and private businesses. By the time I was 36, I had quietly built an investment company worth far more than I ever imagined. Almost nobody knew. I liked it that way. Then I received an unexpected call. The family manufacturing business was drowning in debt. Years of bad decisions had finally caught up with them. A restructuring firm contacted my investment company to see if I'd be interested in acquiring the business. After reviewing the numbers, I realized the employees deserved a better future. So I bought it. A week later, my father, uncle, and brother arrived at my office for a meeting. None of them knew who the new owner was. When I walked into the conference room, they froze. My uncle looked like he'd seen a ghost. My father couldn't say a word. My brother simply stared at me. My uncle finally broke the silence. "You own this company." I nodded. "As of last Friday." Nobody spoke for several seconds. Then my father quietly apologized. He admitted they had laughed because they didn't understand Bitcoin and because they were afraid of anything different. For the first time in my life, he wasn't trying to lecture me. He was asking for my help. I told them I'd save the business. Not for them. For the hundreds of employees who had nothing to do with the family's mistakes. Every worker kept their job. Every customer kept their contracts. The only people who lost their executive positions were the relatives who had nearly destroyed everything. Leadership had to be earned, not inherited. Before they left, my uncle stopped at the door. The same man who once called Bitcoin monopoly money looked at me and quietly said, I should have listened instead of laughing. I smiled. You didn't have to agree with me. You just didn't have to humiliate me. He nodded. Because there was nothing left to argue. Today, the company is thriving again. Our employees are secure. Our customers trust us. And I still invest with the same mindset that guided me 10 years ago. Patience, discipline, and independent thinking. Looking back, Bitcoin wasn't the greatest investment I ever made. Believing in myself was. Because when my family humiliated me for buying Bitcoin with my inheritance, they thought they were laughing at my future. They never realized they were laughing at their own.